Hi, and welcome to Teaching Tip Tuesday, brought to you by the Center for Inclusive Teaching and Learning at UWSP. Last week, I told you about the peak end rule and how you can use it to tweak your assignments in order to improve your students' memory of their learning experience. But it isn't just assignments that are affected by the peak end rule. Your course is affected too. Ending well is important, especially in challenging courses. Students' memories of the course will be affected by how they felt both during the peaks and at the end of the course. So it's important to ensure that students are perceiving positive or pleasurable peaks during the term and a pleasurable ending. Here are some ideas you may be able to put into play in your course. First, there are a number of things you can do that will help your students experience what I call peaks of belonging. All people want to be seen, heard, and appreciated. So, as an instructor, consider things you can do throughout the term to help promote a positive sense of belonging for your students. Take time to see, hear, and appreciate them as individuals. There are a lot of ways you can do this. You can write a quick thank you note to a student to commend them for their contribution to a discussion or for always being ready to answer questions in class. I've given thank you notes to students for things as simple as being good lab partners, to peers who are having a hard time fitting in, and for asking hard and well thought out questions. Because notes take a bit of time, effort, and planning, they mean a great deal to a lot of students. If notes aren't your bag, you can always make the effort to verbally express appreciation for their successes or their contributions to the class. Remember, not all students are excellent, but even for students who aren't stars or standouts, you can take time to recognize their effort or how much they've improved. Taking the time to recognize them by name and comment on changes in their attitudes or behaviors gives them a positive boost and fosters a good classroom climate that will positively impact student perceptions. Whenever you can, give students a peak of belonging. Next, work on providing peaks of enjoyment. I remember my organic chemistry class, and I can say unequivocally that that memory is not pleasant. I felt as though I was trapped in a time warp every time I entered the classroom, as the professor droned on and on in a monotonous monotone in an unending lecture that felt like it lasted way longer than the 50 minutes shown on the classroom clock. If only he'd integrated some learning activities that were enjoyable, my memories would be very different, because there would be some high points for me to recall. Find out what learning activities your students enjoy and expand on those. Consider active learning strategies like discussions and case studies. Try gamification to introduce pleasurable competition and cooperation among students. Introduce interactive peer learning and jigsaw activities that tap into social motivation. If you've got nothing else, consider awarding stupid prizes for the best observation, question, or insight during a class. I've given students candy, stickers, pencils, Dollar Tree statues, and specially made buttons from UWSP Print and Design that cost me virtually nothing, but were treated like gold by the students who won them. Although long, dry lectures are sometimes necessary, they aren't always necessary. Find ways to introduce joy into your classroom by making it educational and fun. Finally, remember to end well. Last impressions are lasting. An overall positive course experience is diminished by an unpleasant ending. Good endings allow students an opportunity to look inward, defining the events, values, and emotions they want to remember from the course, and to look outward, to what they'll take forward from the course to apply in other aspects of their lives and careers. I've got 3 broad suggestions for ending well. First, think of how you can have a grand finale to the course that's positive and social. You can cap final projects with a celebration where you bring some snacks and a couple 2-liter bottles of soda. Enjoy the company of your students as you discuss what the highlights of the term were for them. Make a collective collage. Have students prepare by bringing in a picture that reminds them of the course. They can explain why they chose it to the rest of the class before gluing it to a collage board. Take a picture of it and send it to your students later. Make a collaborative slideshow. Have your students each prepare a slide that sums up what they gained in the class and how they'll use it moving forward. Then compile them into a single PowerPoint and go through the slides as a class. Awards. Provide awards to students for various achievements, big and small. They love it. A final idea is to keep a jar with slips of paper at the ready so that both you and your students can add appreciative comments throughout the term. At the end of the term, empty the gratitude jar and make a presentation for the last day of class, allowing collective sharing of positive experiences. Consider how sitting through a difficult and challenging exam as the last interaction with your course will affect how students remember the course. You can try tweaking your exam to include something fun or creative that the students prepare in advance and that is enjoyable. Maybe they could make an art project that expresses what they gained in the course, or a video reflection on what they learned and how they'll use it. Maybe they'd like to compose a letter to future students in the course to share what they've learned about learning, or perhaps they could build a concept map integrating what they've learned throughout the entire course. This would be a great way to help them study for the rest of the exam, and it could be very fun. My last suggestion is to send a personal email to each of your students after the final exam is over. This parting email could thank them for their contributions or tenacity and could include your memories of specific interactions or student accomplishments during the course of the term, with praise for the student. You can always wish them well in the future and include what you recall about their personal and professional goals. This communication will instill a much more favorable memory than a challenging final exam. The peak end rule shows us that memory of how pleasurable or painful an experience was, even a college course, is greatly influenced by how it ends. So remember to end well. And that's this week's teaching tip, brought to you by the Center for Inclusive Teaching and Learning here at UWSP. We offer support for course design, learning activities, assessment, and pedagogy. Visit our website to schedule a consultation today.